Welcome back. This is episode 225 of the Veterinary Business video show. In this episode we'll hear some suggestions for new graduates seeking advice about their initial salary, and we'll learn how much rent practice owners should pay themselves for a property which they own. We'll hear from Tom Peters, who reminds us that all we have is time. We'll hear from a vet who tells us why she is so passionate about veterinary medicine, and I'll offer you my quick business tip for this episode. I'm John Sheridan, and this is the video show from Veterinary Business. I get the impression sometimes that young veterinary graduates looking for a career in practice are a good deal wiser than I or my contemporaries were when we graduated back in the early 1960s. The going salary for a new vet at that time ranged between £950 and £1,050, that's about £20 a week, together with free accommodation and use of a practice car. I was on call every other night and on 2 weekends in 3. My wife was required to answer the phone, and because that was the norm at that time, we regarded it as acceptable and part of the price of being a veterinary professional. Today, new graduates seem much more demanding, and I was interested in coming across this clip from Dave Nichol, who offers some advice to a brand new vet, for whom the most important question was how much money she should ask for as a new graduate.
And should you be getting paid roughly 20% of your take home? So the really easy answer to that question is, if you are being offered what you understand to be a market rate for your position, take that money. Okay, and do not make your first job the reason why you chose your first job to be about money. Never make that the reason, and because money is not going to make you happy, and asking for more money and successfully negotiating for more money is actually just going to crank up the pressure on you to deliver, when bluntly you're in a position where you just don't know if you're going to deliver or not. Okay, and most graduates are not going to step up and manage to deliver an amazing financial performance in their first year. In fact, most graduates don't even care about financial performance in their first year, which is just fine if you ask me. So would I negotiate for more money in my first year salary? Well, there's two principles here at play. I think the first one is choose your first job based on the level of support you're going to get. So professional support, emotional support, and your development opportunities. And then coming in at a more fractal level on that level of support, choose your first job in a place where they're going to give you a good onboarding program. So they're going to teach you their systems, teach you your standards of care, show you the practice management system and how to use it, teach you their exam room structure, assign you a buddy, make sure there's a performance management system in place so you're able to get face time with your mentor or with your line manager to ask them clinical questions or organizational questions as you're entering the organization, because those first 3, 6 and 12 months are going to set the tone for the rest of your career. If you choose unwisely and you get flung at the deep end and you're just getting smashed all the time with a heavy workload without support, you're going to burn out. Plain and simple. Or you're going to be doing things not to the level or standard to which you are A, capable, and B, wish to work things up to, which means you're either A, going to land up in trouble legally, or B, you're going to be unhappy at the standard of care that you're providing. In any event, all of those routes are a route to disaster. The second principle is never negotiate from a position of weakness. And new graduates, you must learn this. Be freaking patient. You don't know jack about the job yet. Yes, you've got a degree. Yes, you studied hard to get into vet school. Yes, you were top of the class. Yes, you might have done X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. I don't care as an employer. You are as dumb as a rock when it comes to living in the real world and treating real animals. Got it? You need to get that in your brain. The sun doesn't shine out your backside. Yet there is no shortcut to being a great veterinarian. It's about focus, hard work, discipline, and patience. Okay, so when you leave a practice after 12 months, it's a perfectly good practice because of, you're not getting exactly what you want. or you've had a hissy fit at some minor detail, what you're doing is you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to build the thing that your whole career is going to be based on, and that is trust between you and your clients and their pets.
Now let's see who's on the video show Soapbox. Since I became semi-retired a good few years ago, I don't get an opportunity now to review as many practice accounts as I once did. So I was surprised recently to come across two practices, both sole traders in which the principal owned the practice property, but the accounts included no provision for an appropriate rental for the professional premises. Here's a clip in which Gary Glassman offers some advice for practice owners who own their practice premises.
Rent is an interesting equation as far as determining what rent should be paid and how much should be paid. And truthfully, when I look at financial activity in a lot of veterinary practices, it's all over the place. But there is a standard and a way to kind of really determine what your rent should be. And it truly should be based upon a relationship to the fair market value of the property. Many people look at their rent cost as that related to a percentage of the gross revenue of the practice, but that's truly not the right way to set the rent. It's a good way to measure against industry standards to suggest what a proper rent should look like, but it's not how one would suggest the rent. If I was an unrelated party renting my building to myself, what I would probably wind up doing, or what I would probably wind up paying with a third-party landlord, is understanding that landlord wants about a 10% return on their investment based upon the fair market value of the property. And so one should use the same methodology for determining what their rent should be, even when the practice owner owns the building and also owns the practice. The 10% rent example would be if my practice building was worth $1 million, then at 10% I would basically pay $100,000 in rent per year divided by 12, and that would become my monthly payment under a triple net lease, with again the practice paying for the utilities, insurance, and property taxes.
Now for a tip from the top in the business world of veterinary practice. This time the tip from the top is from the great Tom Peters, who reminds us that how we use our allotted time on this earth defines us as individuals.
There must be a million books on time management, and I haven't written any of them. But I do want to at least briefly talk about time. When I use the word time, I usually use the word calendar. So here we go. Listen up, please. Do me a favor. You are your calendar. Your calendar, by definition, never lies. Never, never lies. Your calendar always knows the truth about what you're up to and what you care about. Do you? The way we spend our time is our priorities. You yap and yap and yap about quality and then spend 4% of your time on it. You don't give two hoots in hell about it. The way we spend our time is our priorities. The way we spend our time is our strategy. The way we spend our time is what we really care about. The way we spend our time is who we are. Strong language in all of those lines and merited. It's the oldest line in the world, all we have is time. Well, guess what? All we have is time.
Now for my quick business tip for this episode. Now for a clip from Julia Georgeson, a veterinarian and companion animal practitioner in the United States.
I mean, I love it. I've been here since 2002, and it's never a boring day. And I've really loved being part of people's families. I mean, it's hard whenever the pets get older, but it's rewarding because what can you do to better their life? What can you do to make them more comfortable? How can you help people through the process of being a puppy and kitten, having maybe a major medical illness or setback, hopefully recovering from that, living into their senior years? What can you do to improve their quality of life? And I feel that's really where it's rewarding. And I think it's hard when at some points there's not something more that you can do, but knowing that you and the family together worked and gave it your all to give that pet the best life that it could have. And then, when they come back again and they're ready to open their hearts again, I mean, that's just makes it all the more worthwhile. This is my passion. This is my profession.
So what's my quick business tip? Well, it's this. I would hope that everyone involved in the business of veterinary practice is at least in part motivated by a vocational interest in the health and welfare of the animals owned or managed by our clients. That's especially true, of course, for all of us who graduated as vets or other healthcare clinicians, even if our jobs haven't involved a hands-on clinical role for a good many years. So have another look at Julia's video and remind yourself about why you became a member of this great profession of ours in the first place. Well, that's about it for now. I'm John Sheridan, and this has been another video show from Veterinary Business. See you next time.